Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this worship of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua, New York. I'm Eileen, I'm your minister, and I'm so glad to welcome you to our virtual worship service this morning. So before we begin our service in earnest, I have a couple quick announcements for you. The first is that we kick off our summer worship in July and August soon, and there are still a couple of spots where lay leaders might like to lead a worship service. So if you have a sermon on your heart that's been there a long time and you just are aching to preach it, reach out to me, especially if you're already on our trained worship leading team. If not, we can get you on that team real quickly. If you don't feel like you could preach a sermon, but you still feel like you could maybe lead a group of people through something, we've got some great shorter online friendly worship service formats for the summer that it would be great for you to lead. Some are more interactive, so they're a reading or a story and then some facilitated discussion, and some are more meditative, some poetry and music. We've got a long list of readings and stories that folks can choose from, of meditations, and of pre-recorded hymns by Bill Mills. So if you're interested in being a worship leader for the summer, please reach out to me or reach out to Pat Harris, our worship scheduler and coordinator. We'd love to get you on board. There are a few Sundays left that are still open for lay leaders. The second is also an announcement about summer, and that is that we are kicking off a summer adventure of religious exploration for all ages, of screen-free spiritual care activities for the summer. And if you would like to sign up for that, I'm going to put a link in the chat box right now. You'll be able to find this link on our website this afternoon as well, and on our Facebook page. It came to you already in your latest This Week from UUCC email if you're on our newsletter list. So if you go to this link that's in the chat box or any of those places, you can sign up to be part of this summer adventure of religious exploration for all ages. You'll get a packet, a whole bag of materials that'll take you through the summer of religious exploration with an activity each week, plus a few extras. And on July 5th, our Sunday morning service is going to kick off summer adventure religious exploration, and it's going to be a real physical service. So folks will pull up to the church parking lot in their cars. They're going to stay in their cars. They're going to park in the spot where a masked attendant directs them to, 6 feet apart from the other cars, roll down their windows, hear Bill Mel play some beautiful music on his amplifier, and then get these little summer adventure packets placed in your trunks. So if you want to be part of that service, if you want to be part of Summer Adventure, click on the link, sign up. We would love to have you join us in either of those or both of those things. And now let us enter a space of worship. Let's light our chalices together. If you have a chalice or any kind of candle, anything you can kindle, a light bulb to flick on, let's light them together this morning. And as we do, we recite these words. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Now, friends, I have to admit something to you. I have to admit that I used to be the kind of gardener who thought flowers were beneath me. I grew edible plants only. Vegetables, some fruits, maybe a few herbs, and very occasionally some edible or useful flowers. I'd clear out landscaping meant to beautify for the sake of plants that were more productive. And then I fell in love with a rose gardener. Brian, if he had his way, would turn our whole yard into one big rose garden. Roses, though, okay, parts of them are technically edible, are fussy and needy. They require all kinds of care. They're difficult to grow well. But in the summer, when they bloom, like they are right now, they look like this. This is the front of my house. And this patient, attentive partner, along with his roses, has taught me more than about just flowers. Because to be honest, I can be a bit fussy and needy. Sometimes I require all kinds of care. I'm not too big to admit it, can even be difficult to grow well. I mean, normally I'm a freaking delight, but from time to time. And the real truth of it, for every single one of us, is that our value does not boil down to our usefulness. We are worth so much more than whatever we can produce. You, each of you, bring beauty and loveliness to the world just by existing. I think that's why we come to church, isn't it? The embrace of a loving community. Here we can see one another for the gifts that we truly are. Each of us truly gratuitous. We lift up this community, this world, not by our capacity to work or produce, but by our very being. And so I ask you to join with me as a community of beautiful, worthy, valuable people, just by being you, in joining in singing our first hymn, hymn number 64. And now it's time for a story. This morning, I'd like to share with you the story of The Little Purple Hen by Joanna Fontaine Crawford. Maybe you've heard a similar story of a little red hen. This story is a little bit different. So this is called The Little Purple Hen. The Little Purple Hen, you'll notice this story seems familiar, found a sack of wheat seed and rushed to tell her friends. "Look at this seed I found," said the little purple hen. "Let's see if it's still good," said Pig. He examined it under a microscope and saw that most of the seeds were fresh and ready to be used. "You'll want some of my special fertilizer for that," said Cow. She hurried home to get some. "I love to plant," said Puppy, who was only a young one. "Can I help you with that?" And so Puppy and the little purple hen planted all the seeds that Pig had examined and found fresh, and added the fertilizer that Cow brought. Several weeks went by and the seeds began to grow. The little purple hen planned on using Saturday to do her weeding. When she got outside that morning, she was shocked. There were no weeds. "That must be some fertilizer," she said. Then Farmer Joe wandered by. "Farmer Joe, all the weeds in my garden have disappeared," said the little purple hen. "Yes, they did," he laughed. "A cow and a pig and a puppy were over here yesterday and they pulled them all up. Of course, I'm kind of an expert on weeds, so I showed them what to pull up and what to leave behind." "Thank you," said the little purple hen. As the weeks went by, the sun ripened the wheat until it was ready to harvest. The little purple hen got up early Saturday morning and went down to her garden. There was Farmer Joe with his nice plow and cow and pig and puppy, and someone else. "This is my friend Cat," said Pig. "We're here to help with the harvest." "Nice to meet you, Cat," said little purple hen. "Oh, I love a good harvest," purred Cat. As they worked together harvesting the wheat, they discussed getting the wheat ground into flour. "You know, I have a brother-in-law who owns a granary," said Cat. She called him up, and he said he'd be happy to let them use his grinding machine after hours. "I'll take it over there," said Farmer Joe. "Oh, we want to go with you," said all the friends. So they all went over to the granary, and while the machine worked, they ate pizza. Cat's brother-in-law joined them and said, "You know, I have a friend who owns a bakery. He has big ovens. Maybe you could use them." "Wow," said the little purple hen. "I just planned on making one loaf of bread, but with all this grain we've harvested, if we could use big ovens, we could make many loaves." A few days later, the little purple hen and cow and pig and puppy and farmer and Cat's brother-in-law all met at the bakery of Cat's brother-in-law's friend. They mixed the dough and let it rise and baked it in the giant ovens. They kept doing this over and over. At the end of the day, they put the last loaves in the oven and counted all the loaves cooling on the counters. "And with those in the oven, we'll have 267 loaves," said Pig. They all looked at each other in amazement. "Well, of course, we'll each take some bread," said little purple hen, "but there's so much. What will we do with it all?" And Cow said, "Well, I know a homeless shelter that would love fresh bread." And Puppy said, "I know a church with lots of kids who would love fresh bread for their snack." And Pig said, "I know a food pantry with giant freezers so they can freeze a lot of bread to eat later." And so they shared all the bread, and each of them took home several loaves and felt very rich indeed and very proud of themselves for all they had accomplished. And at the end of it all, the little purple hen said, "Thank you." And that is the end of our story. And now, my friends, it is time for us to share our joys and our sorrows with one another. We are a community that holds one another in our deepest pain as well as our greatest celebrations. So whatever it is you're carrying with you on your heart this morning, we invite you to share it in this community. You can use the chat box in Zoom to share what's going on with you today. Or if you're watching this later on YouTube, you can use the comments section. So we invite you now into this time of sharing with one another. Are there joys and sorrows to lift up this morning? For all these joys and sorrows, and for whatever is left in the silence of our hearts, know that we are with you. And friends, now is the time in our service where we enter into the spiritual practice of generosity. It is donations from friends and members that fund the good work of this community. And so I ask you, as much as you're able, if you're able, to give generously this morning. I'll post in the chat a couple ways that you're able to do that while we meet virtually. One is to click the link, which is our website, canandaiguauu.org/connection, where you can find a donate button to give to our morning's offering, or you could mail a check to the church at 3024 Cooley Road. In either case, if you'd like it to go to this morning's offering and to be shared with our service partner for the month, then please note in both cases that you'd like it to be part of the offering for this morning, June 14th. Our service partner for June was decided by the Social and Environmental Justice Committee long ago to be the Out Alliance, which is an LGBTQ+ group supporting LGBTQ+ issues in the Rochester area. The Out Alliance, you might have noticed, just announced that their organization is disbanding. They've hit rough financial times exacerbated by this pandemic. So social environmental justice heroes in our church are working on figuring out what that means for our service partner for June, whether they'll still need our donations or not, whether those donations can go to an LGBT+ group of a different origin. So we will have an update for you about that very soon. And now I ask you to get comfortable in your seat, take a deep breath as we prepare to enter a time of centering and meditation, followed by some shared silence. Let's all breathe together. Let some part of you find the earth beneath you, a supportive floor, and know that you are held. This morning's words of meditation are called Peonies by Mary Oliver. This morning, the green fists of the peonies are getting ready to break my heart as the sun rises. As the sun strokes them with his old buttery fingers, they open, pools of lace, white and pink. And all day the black ants climb over them, boring their deep and mysterious holes into the curls, craving the sweet sap, taking it away to their dark underground cities. And all day, under the shifty wind, as in a dance to the great wedding, the flowers bend their bright bodies and tip their fragrance into the air, and rise, their red stems holding all that dampness and recklessness gladly and lightly. And there it is again, beauty the brave, the exemplary, blazing open. Do you love this world? Do you cherish your humble and silky life? Do you adore the green grass with its terror beneath? Do you also hurry, half-dressed and barefoot, into the garden and softly exclaiming of their dearness, fill your arms with the white and pink flowers, with their honeyed heaviness, their lush trembling, their eagerness to be wild and perfect for a moment before they are nothing forever? flower communion service was created by Norbert Čapek, born in 1870, who founded the Unitarian Church in Czechoslovakia. He introduced this special service to that church on June 4th, 1923. For some time, he had felt the need for some symbolic ritual that would bind people more closely together. The format had to be one that would not alienate anyone who had forsaken other religious traditions. The traditional Christian communion service with bread and wine was unacceptable to the members of his congregation because of their strong reaction against the Catholic faith. So he turned to the native beauty of their countryside for elements of a communion which would be genuine to them. This simple service was the result. It was such a success that it was held yearly just before the summer recess of that church. The flower communion was brought to the United States in 1940 and introduced to the members of our Cambridge, Massachusetts church by Dr. Čapek's wife, Maja Čapek. The Czech-born Maja had met Norbert Čapek in New York City while he was studying for his PhD, and it was at her urging that Norbert left the Baptist ministry and had turned to Unitarianism in the first place. The Čapeks returned to Czechoslovakia in 1921 and established the dynamic liberal church in Prague. Maja Čapek was ordained in 1926. It was during her tour of the United States that Maja introduced the flower communion here, which had been developed in the Prague church. Unfortunately, Maja was unable to return to Prague due to the outbreak of World War II, and it was not until the war was over that Norbert Čapek's death in a concentration camp was revealed to her. From the beginning, this service has spread to many of our Unitarian Universalist congregations and has been adapted along the way, as we do today for an online format. People were asked to bring a flower of their choice, either from their own gardens or from a field or roadside. And when they arrived at church, a large vase stood waiting in the vestibule or at an altar, attended by 2 members of church school traditionally. Each person was asked to place their own flower in the vase. This signified that it was by their own free will that they joined the others. The vase contained all the flowers and was a symbol of the United Church Fellowship. Then the young attendants helped with the arrangement of the bouquet and later carried the vase up to the front, placed it on an altar. Dr. Čapek said a prayer there, after which he walked over and consecrated the flowers while the congregation stood. The 2 attendants then took the vase back into the vestibule, and after the service was over, as people left the church, they would pass the vase and take a flower other than the one they had brought. The significance of the flower communion is that no 2 flowers are alike and no 2 people are alike, yet each have a contribution to make. Together, the different flowers form a beautiful bouquet. Our common bouquet would not be the same without the unique addition of each individual flower, and thus it is with our church community. It would not be the same without each and every one of us. The service is a statement of our community. By exchanging flowers, we show our willingness to walk together in search for truth, disregarding what might divide us. Each person takes home a flower brought by someone else and symbolizes our shared celebration in community. This communion of sharing is essential to a free people in a free religion. And this morning, I had asked you all to send me pictures of flowers you found or flowers you grew, pictures that included your own lovely faces, and you did. And we share those joyfully now with you.
Like the maple seeds spiraling gracefully round, blow the winds blow gently homeward, like a feather's caress as it lights on the ground. Feel the winds blow gently homeward, like a leaf on the water that goes where it goes, like the seed that can rest, knowing all that it knows. Blow the winds, blow gently homeward. From the top of the sky, the blue darkness descends. Blow the winds, blow gently homeward. For the trials of the day, do the stars make amends? Feel the winds blow gently homeward, like a serpentine brook rolling lazily down, like the route to the heart that was lost and then found. Gently they turn, heading homeward. The chorus of evening is called into play. Blow the winds, blow gently homeward, like the opening night of the close of the day. Feel the winds blow gently homeward, ephemeral currents that flee with the light and then find repose in the stillness of night. Gently the winds take me homeward. Like the rain of pure laughter with no place to hide. Blow the winds, blow gently homeward, like the hope for the dawn that takes refuge inside. Feel the winds blow gently homeward, like the road to the distance that's seen with eyes closed, like the vision of peace in the dreams you supposed. Just close your eyes and look over. Like the road to the distance that's seen with eyes closed, like the vision of peace in the dreams you supposed. Just close your eyes and look homeward.
Friends, we are a bouquet of beautiful flowers, even though we are apart. Our hearts still are together. And so I offer this blessing by Dr. Chapek, with which he consecrated his flowers every year. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of the most precious gifts, and not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. Let us join together in singing our closing hymn for the beauty of the earth. As we come to the end of our service, it's time to extinguish our chalices. I invite you, if you'd like, push your hands into the corners of your frame. It's almost as if we're touching person to person as we extinguish our chalices this morning. And we recite our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May it be so.